Daith da, Ewi Nakan. Welcome to podcast number 67. Well, you're going to have to bear with me a bit this week as I'm just getting over manflu. So I'm recording this on the Thursday. This is the 28th, between Christmas and New Year. I was thinking about putting off to tomorrow night, but with work I might get a call and then everything I'd be doing it at midnight. So I thought I'd go ahead now. I won't talk too much tonight, so hopefully it won't be too bad. But I hope you've all had a good Christmas. We had a nice, quiet Christmas, although I did start feeling, well, rough as router, really, on Christmas Day in the afternoon. And I say, I'm just getting at the other end of the tunnel now, as you say. But we did leave work a little earlier on the 22nd. I can always remember when I started with Father, we'd work right up until 5 o'clock on Christmas Eve. And honestly, we was at Bridge End there, and I used to feel like Bob Cratchit. I'd be there sat at my desk in the corner, looking out the window, and you'd see all these people rolling round the corner, drunk, coming over the bridge. And there I would be, working away. So we do try and leave about dinner time. I think we left about 1, 2 o'clock on Friday. And then Saturday, we had a funeral at Llanteglas, up by Camelford there, at 12 o'clock. Lovely service. It was really nice, well attended. And then in the afternoon, we headed down to Mousehole. And that's for Tom Bawcock's Eve. So for those of you that don't know where 'tis right down west. 'Tis just the other side of Penzance and Newlyn. And 'tis actually spelt Mousehole, but 'tis pronounced Mousehole. And every year they have fantastic lights there around the harbour. 'Tis a lovely little fishing village. And they have the lights there around the harbour. And then on the 23rd, every year, 'tis Tom Bawcock's Eve. Now, for those of you that don't know, this goes back to the 1600s, I think it is, 16th century. And legend has it that 'twas coming up to Christmas. The weather had been really bad. They relied on fish for food. None of them could get out the harbour. And so Tom Bawcock thought he would go out. And he went out and he caught that much fish that he managed to feed the whole village until the weather calmed down. And they now celebrate that down there. And what they now make is what's known as Stargazy pie. And Stargazy pie, 'tis a pie that's pastry based, a fish pie. And what they do, they get the heads and the tails of the fish sticking up through the crust. So it looks like the fish heads, them looking up, gazing up towards the stars. And we did have it. I went down a few years ago and we did have a bit because they do serve it in the pub in there. And we did have a bit of Stargazy pie, but I did jib this year. So we did get down there a little bit later than I hoped for, really, because 'twas even down there. And we were queuing to get in, and there's always a lot of people there. But I'm sure this year was the busiest I've ever seen it. There was thousands there. I suppose perhaps because 'twas a Saturday, may have had something to do with it, because sometimes we can't get down there if I got a funeral later in the day. But it was even. We managed to get a car space parked up, which was good. But we did miss the children's procession this year, which is where they have lanterns going through the streets, and then they go down in the harbour and they let them float out on the water. So we did miss that, but we managed to catch, there was a band playing down on the harbour because the tide was out. And then there was a choir singing. And then we had the bagpipes and that going through the town. Now, I don't know if that's Bagus to Gull or no, but if not, it reminds me of them. Now, this could actually be me Cornish words for the week, so I'll kill two birds with one stone here. Bagus to Gull means feast day band. And this was a little group like with Cornish bagpipes and that. They was formed quite a few years ago, and they'd be going round and playing at things like this. And I got their album, a fantastic album. I don't know if you can get it anymore. And it's called Party Like It's 13.99. And that was kind of based on Prince, because Prince said, we're going to party like it's 1999. Well, this is Party Like It's 1399. And it's a fantastic album because you got all these old Cornish tunes they playing on bagpipes, but 'tis kind of set to like a reggae, like a UB40 groove behind. And 'tis what a mixture. 'Tis fantastic. And then they got little overdubs of people saying things, including our dear old friend Ed Prynne. And they got a bit there where Ed Prynne is talking at the end of the song. And 'tis fantastic. Very good. Now, it might not be they, but if not, it sounds like they. And they come round the harbour, and I filmed them on my Facebook page. And there is a Tom Bawcock's Eve song, and they was playing it on the bagpipes, and then they stopped, and then people was singing it. There was a chapter with the guitar. Absolutely fantastic. But as I said last week, Christmas is a mixture of emotions, and I feel I can't mention Mousehole at Christmas without mentioning the Penlee lifeboat crew. And this crew, they was all based there in Mousehole, and on the 19th of December 1981 they were called out on a shout, and the lifeboat was called the Soloman Browne, and they were called to try and rescue a coaster which was called the Union Star. And they had several attempts to get alongside. I think there was 8 people on board the boat, and you had the 8 crewmen on the lifeboat, and 'twas really rough weather. I think they did say at one stage they radioed back they got 4 off the boat, and then I think they went back again to try and get the others, and then they lost all contact with them. And so the next day at daylight, they found the Union Star. It was capsized, and then debris from the lifeboat began to wash ashore. And that was the last time that the RNLI lost an entire crew in action. And you can imagine it was devastating for such a small little community like Mousehole to lose 8 men, 8 of their crew, just before Christmas. Absolutely devastating. And obviously those men will never be forgotten, the crew of the Soloman Browne. So every year down at Mousehole, everybody goes down to marvel at the fantastic lights. But on the 19th of December, between 8 and 9 o'clock in the evening, for that hour, all of the lights are turned off in memory of the 8 crew and the 8 on the boat, the Union Star, in memory of them. And I think it's just the cross and angels that are left shining down on the village to remember them. So when you go down Mousehole over Christmas and see they lights, whatever night 'tis, you can never forget they 8 men from Mousehole, the Penlee lifeboat, that lost their lives trying to save others. But when we was down there for Tom Bawcock's Eve, 'twas a joyous occasion, and 'twas absolutely heaving. And I saw a few bridgers there. Anthony and Teresa Hurst bumped into they. I was hoping to see me old school teacher Mike Ellis, because he actually lives down there, but we didn't meet up. We was messaging each other. And also I saw Jane Key the next day at Eglisale, and Jane and David, they was down there. They saw me, they said, but I didn't see they. So we get a few from our way go down, but 'tis really for the people of that area. I remember years ago, I made a hang of a mistake. We was running a bit late. We had all the kids in the back, and we was rushing down. And it might have been the first time we went down there, I don't know, but I was looking for somewhere to park. So I veered up around, and I thought I'd come down around and park on the outskirts of the village. And I went too far, and I'm driving through Mousehole, and there's thousands of people there. And it's like driving through Padstow on May Day or Elston on Flora Day. And I can hear these people, we had our windows wound up, I can hear these people saying, what a bloody idiot he is, what's he doing? Like, fancy driving through here. and I just couldn't turn around, and I just wanted the earth to swallow me up. Felt terrible that day. So that's a time I'll never forget. And then, of course, a few years ago, I was doing a cycling race, and I was going round the bend there at Mousehole, and there was 2 wet manhole covers, and I went over and injured myself quite bad, but that's a whole nother story. So then we get on to Christmas Eve, which is the 24th, and in the afternoon, Eglesell Church, they had it open there for all the kiddies to go, and they had a couple of donkeys there. Jane Key was there with the donkeys. There was a couple of sheep inside, and again, the church was really busy. And Beth and I went down with James and Jesse and Ollie, and had a lovely hour down there, meeting up with people, and that was a real good run into Christmas. And then the manflu started. So there we are. Right, well, I'm going to hand over to me and Gill now, Gill O'Keefe, for the second part of my interview that I did. And the electrical interference isn't quite so bad this week. I think there may be 3-4 times at the most where we had that little electrical interference. So it isn't so bad, but it is a very interesting interview again with Gill this week. And thank you for all the lovely comments and messages about last week's. And I'm sure you're going to enjoy this too. And I'll speak to you directly. So now over to me and Gill. Both your families then, was they involved much with the Oss at all, Mayday and that?
No, not at all. Obviously Pat was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember one year I made the gown for the Oss because I had an old Singer machine.
Right.
And we had this, and I'd sat to the table and Pat would be pulling and I would be doing this, and when I'd finished it, I said to Pat, all I hope is when they paint it, it doesn't shrink and goes in there. You know? But it didn't, but I always remember making it one year, but no, Pat was real mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was like James.
Yeah.
And Mark always comes home from May Day as well. Because beginning of May Day, Pat used to get up on a step ladder, and back then, you used to get telegrams from families that had gone away from here. Like, I always remember the Reeveleys, they went to Australia, and they always used to send a telegram. You had telegrams back in those days.
Of course, yeah.
And Pat used to get up on these steps and read out the telegrams, and very involved. Yeah. It was like the British Legion then. In the end, he was very involved in the British Legion. Like, he was standard bearer, he was chairman, and I know we went to London. Well, I've only just given up treasurership after 29 years. Yeah, 29. But no, I can't do any more. I thought I ought to try and do the 30, but yeah, we had some good times with them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the branch like in Padstow now? Is it
quite good, really. You don't get that many at the meetings, but I think Padstow, that we always have a pat on the back for the collection for Armistice.
Yeah.
Because Barbara Flanagan, she takes charge of that, and I know this past year, Padstow raised 16,000.
Get away.
Yeah. Well, what they usually do, half term is usually sort of one of the weeks of the collecting.
Yeah.
And they have collecting tins down on the quay, and of course you get a lot of people here for, half term and that.
Yeah.
And that. But no, we always get praised for it because they say for such a small place, that's a good amount of money.
Yeah. I'm always impressed with how well turned out your parades are on Remembrance Sunday.
Yes, yes. You have the Merrymakers, which is unique, really.
Yeah.
I don't think any other place would have a band like
which is
that.
mainly accordions, and in case anybody listening that don't know, it is
that's
accordions.
Right. And they play all the old war songs, like, Pack Up Your Troubles and all these songs, yes. Yeah, that's very good.
So then once you got married and had the children, then you was kind of housewife with he, or did he go back to work?
No, we lived here. Well, we didn't have this all opened up like it was.
No.
It was, and I used to do bed and breakfast, used to do one room, like,
Yeah. And
then I can't think how old the children were, but Jen Sandry, she had the shop down on the quay and a little sweet shop and that. She asked me if I'd like to go and work with her. So, because I think all three kids were at school then.
Yeah.
So I used to go down and do a couple of days a week there. And then Win Pitt, well, she'd come from away, but she ran the library. And she came and saw me one day. She said, Jill, should I go in a position in the library? Would you be interested?
Oh, right.
And I worked there for 21 years then
Get
in the
away.
library. When she finished, I took over
Yeah.
her job, like, yeah.
Is that still going in the library?
No.
No.
Well, they come once a month for an hour with a van.
Oh, I see.
But we're wondering how much longer that's going to go on, really.
Yeah.
Because it's like the Lloyds Bank, they come once a fortnight.
Yeah.
But they're finishing in June.
Are they?
So we've got no banks here.
Just different.
Yeah. Four-way bridge, they've only got, is it Lloyds and Barclays
Yeah,
now?
that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all changed. And
Yeah.
say for a while we was without a post office.
Yes, you were, weren't you?
Do you have any hobbies at all then, or no? Or didn't have time for that?
Well, really, I didn't have a lot of time for hobbies, but because I always loved swimming. Because when I was at school, pastor school, we used to have swimming galas down because we had a lovely little swimming pool down in the rocks on the way. You go up stile, and then just halfway up, they used to go down the little path, and we had a lovely swimming pool down there. And the school used to have swimming galas, and I know one year when I went home, Mother said, "What are you doing with those 2 cups?" I said, "Well, I won both, Mother. One was for style, breaststroke style, and the other was for racing, and I'd won the race as well." And then we used to have swimming galas in the quay.
Right.
And we had a thing in the quay that you had to shoot on, slide on, and diving boards and all that. And what's that called? The Bulgaria, I think, if I remember rightly.
Right.
But yes, I can remember in the race, and there was a person called Mary Hawken, and I always used to vie against each other, And I know we were going over. It was in the new pier bit, and you swam from where the red brick building is across to the new pier and back again. And of course, I was way ahead. And next thing, I gulped some water, and I was, and she overtook me.
No. Oh.
Yeah, but then of course they used to have water polo in the quay and that, and we always go down and watch that. And
I know they do a swim. Is it from Rock to Padstow or the other way around?
Padstow to Rock.
Padstow to Rock.
Yes,
yeah.
that's right. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That raises a lot of money each year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I wouldn't be able to do that. I'm very good swimming.
I know Karen did it a couple of years.
Did she?
Yeah, she did it a couple of years, but that's why we used to. One year she did it, and the tide had gone out so much that they was more or less walking across what was the sandbar to swim across the other side. Yeah. Because we used to have regattas as well in the quay, and that used to be good fun. Because I know one year they arranged for the regatta, and they hadn't obviously looked at the tide times, and there was no water.
Oh no! Did you have to go church or anything at all? Because I know when we was all younger, you had to go church.
We was chapel.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, chapel, yes. And I was in the chapel choir.
Was he? Yeah.
Yeah, I had to go chapel every Sunday, twice.
Yeah.
Mornings and evenings. Yeah. There was no getting away from it either.
No.
No, of course, that's when there was the proper chapel, before they had to demolish it.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So the proper chapel stood like where the car park bit is now.
That's right.
Yeah,
yes,
that's right.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lovely chapel, really, because you had the gallery upstairs. There was up the top, and the choir were up the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can only just remember that. Very vaguely remember
Yes,
that.
Yeah, because I can't remember how many years ago it was demolished, but it's quite a few now.
It is, isn't it?
Yes.
Because that was the one thing improved. Like when they made the car park, you had a nice lot of room to park the hearse and that for funerals.
Yes, because before, there wouldn't have been, there wasn't any car park. But before.
So obviously, we coming up to Christmas time.
Yeah.
Was there ever much Christmas festivities for the town in the year or two? Because they got a.
Yeah, we had the festival.
Festival thing.
The Christmas festival. That was not this weekend, just gone, the weekend before.
Yeah.
Then, was it 3 or 4 years ago, the Dolls and that, Janet and her sister Judith and that, they started what they called an Edenic Lowen, which they had on a Saturday.
Yeah, right.
Before Christmas, and that was the first Saturday in the first or rather the last Saturday in November, one of the two, and that brought a lot of people this year. Yes, they raised quite a bit of money, and they put that towards the lights. Yeah, because the lights are beautiful this year. They're more than ever down there. Yeah, Karen drove me down around Sunday night, and they certainly are lovely.
Yeah, that's right.
So, because Weybridge, they have a lot of lights on the bridge and that, don't they?
That's right. That's where it looks nice. It's going over the bridge and then level crossing where the train used to go through. They got all that nice and blue. And
Yeah, I used to belong to the Pastor Carolers, obviously, and I used to belong to that. I used to enjoy that. And of course, last night they were down the cathedral, but I actually could see it on the iPad, that was nice. But
because are there a lot of carols just from Pasto and that? Or what?
Yes, there are, but there's some that sort of have come from other places, I think, over the years. But no, ours, they are actual pastoral carols.
That's right.
Yes.
What people love as well is like hearing all the old names and that.
Yes.
So like when you said some of the shops and that.
Yes.
You know.
Well, we still do. We local people. I said to Paddy this morning, I said something about Bonetto's. Well, that's where the bookshop is now.
Oh, get away.
Yeah. And Wilton's was where Boots is now. We've often refer, because if there's anybody that's come to live here, they look at us and say, who are they talking about?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yes, can remember all the names of the shops down there. Yeah.
So most of the shops and down in the quay was to do with looking after the town, then, like greengrocers, butchers, and all things like that.
That's right. Yes.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. No, all gone now.
And so, when you was younger, did you have milk deliveries then?
Yes.
And was that from a dairy or Padstow area then, or where was that from?
Yeah, that was Ploughman's. They had a dairy down Church Street where they had their, or behind it where they lived in Church Street. And I'm just trying to think what the chap was called that used to come and Hellier's, Pat Hellier.
Yeah.
He used to deliver milk. Bill Ploughman, when he came out, they used to have the can, and dip it in and then tip it into your jug and that. You didn't have bottles or anything then. No.
Wow.
No.
So was that Roy's father? Would it be?
Yes. That's right. Roy Ploughman's father. Yes.
That's right.
Yes. That's right. Because he come Weybridge to live, didn't he?
That's right.
Lived there years. Yeah. And his sister Stella, she lives up Weybridge now.
Was there any other deliveries you had when you was young then? I mean...
Yeah, Edgar Grinaway had a little grocery shop.
All right.
And I used to go up there, well, when we lived in Church Street, he was there, because I always remember when Mother was going to make yeast, she'd send me down there for a couple of ounces of yeast. By the time I got home, which was only half a dozen steps, I'd eaten half of it, because I had to go back for another.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I used to love it. Sound horrible, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah. But once I got married, because when we got married, we lived in the flat, well, it was the bottom flat, just down in Dennis Road, 12 Dennis Road.
Right.
And what we used to do, what you did then, I used to go up there, go Grinaway's, and go in with me list. And then he had a boy that used to deliver later on, the same with the butchers. Used to have the butchers would deliver on a Saturday.
Right.
Yeah, all with their bikes, with their baskets
That's
on the
right.
front and that. Yeah.
Oh. And where was your doctors to then in town?
There was a Dr. Sherville, which lived out the house opposite the cemetery.
Yeah. That's right.
But we were Dr. Sheldon, and he lived in Cross Street.
Right.
Armside in Cross Street, because I was very friendly with his daughter Jennifer, and he had 2 sons as well. But of course, we living in Church Street. We were right opposite, more or less, part of the cross house in the middle.
Yeah.
And but you used to go and just wait in the waiting room You don't have to make an appointment or anything, and then it was first come, first served, like, then.
Yeah.
But don't get it now.
No,
And Dr. Sheldon, I can see him there. He was a very tall, slim man. And he loved the beach and the water. And he used to, every afternoon, he'd go down to girls and stretch out. I thought, there they are telling you now you mustn't get sunburned. Yeah. He used to go nearly black.
Did he really?
Yes, yes. He was always in the water and sunbathing and that, yes.
Yeah. And there wasn't a dentist in town then, or no? But...
Yes, Walters was a dentist.
Oh, right.
Yeah, well, that was when, I know, not long before I got married, I had to go to him because that tooth, the tooth that I had there was playing up.
Yeah.
And he was a butcher.
Oh, was he?
He was. Oh, God. And I know he took that tooth out. And I was in agonies. And different ones said, well, you get well, back then you didn't have another one put in, just like my gap.
Yeah.
Nowadays you'd have a brace, wouldn't you, to do all that, but it didn't do that now.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much, Gill. I think that was brilliant. You brought back some memories there of Padstow years ago. So if you'd like to say goodbye to everybody.
Well, goodbye, everybody. I've enjoyed doing it. It's nice having David here. Hope you enjoy what I've said.
Proper job. Lovely. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Well, thank you, Gill. That was brilliant. Next year, I must give a little bit more time. I'll talk about the Padstow carols because they are unique just to Padstow. So I will do a good section on that, I think, next Christmas, perhaps. But I won't talk too much more now because my voice isn't improving at all. But I thought for me Cornish dialect of the week, I'll be going back to the Stargazy pie at Mousehole, which I say was pastry with the fish heads sticking out, the tail sticking out. And it was made also, there was potato in it. And of course, the Cornish dialect for potato is teddy. And years ago, they used to have like a 2-pronged tool that you'd dig up the potatoes with, the teddies, and that was called a acker. A acker. So it was a teddy acker. So I think that'll be me dialect for this week, teddy acker. So I'll leave you there. I hope you have a good New Year's Eve and a New Year's Day. As we say down here in Cornwall, Blethen knoweth da. Blethen knoweth da. Happy New Year. And I'll speak to you again next year. So wish you well, do Guinness, Curno Bisfican.